Every family has a choice, follow the herd or carve their own path. This is the Lone Wolfe Podcast. Are you ready to stray from the pack?
Welcome to the Lone Wolfe Podcast. Hello!
Welcome to the Lone Wolfe Podcast. I'm Jordan, and this is Morgan. And we sold our house and everything we own to move into a 22-foot pull trailer with our two daughters. We chose this unconventional way of living to have true freedom, be more self-reliant, and have sovereignty within our family.
And these are the conversations that we're going to have along the way. Are we totally crazy cuckoo? Maybe. Jordan feels a little distracted today because we currently have a cat in the podcast tent.
She's just chilling.
Meow meow, come here.
It's actually really cute.
Why do you think that everybody seemingly wants to homestead?
It does seem to be very popular.
It's become trendy.
It's become trendy for sure. It's kind of blown up on social media. You see so many people just, this is the lifestyle that I want. And it's always like the farm animals and the chickens and having land and the freedom to, be self-reliant.
Yeah.
And I think it's very attractive, especially when you look at it on social media or on paper. I don't necessarily think that people understand what actually goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got us intrigued.
Yeah. And I think there are certainly people out there who do understand. I don't think it's, everybody. Maybe it's 50-50.
Yeah.
But I think one of the big things is social media. I do think that it's kind of glamorized homesteading in some ways. But on the other hand, like, just to be like devil's advocate, to be kind of a complete idiot to think that homesteading is not difficult. I'm going to speak for our family. Our attraction to homesteading is because it requires hard work. Like, we like it because of that. So I think that there is a big cultural shift happening where this younger generation, and we're kind of in the like middle of it. It's weird. I don't know. You look back and like homesteading used to be just how we did it.
Right.
Like everybody's grandma had a garden. And then we're kind of that in-between generation where social media and iPhones and Wi-Fi and all those things like came on board.
Mm-hmm.
And now everything becomes so convenient and so easily accessible. But now we're kind of in between the two worlds. But this younger generation after us, I think, is seeing all the effects that convenience culture is having on us. And now there's kind of this cultural rebellion almost, where we've seen this new trend where Gen Z is like not drinking alcohol. They're not partying as much. They're like kind of taking back the flip phone, that pushback against kind of modern mainstream things that we were like force fed when we were younger.
Yeah.
Now people are kind of like, maybe homesteading is the direction I can go to essentially kind of like fuck the system.
Yeah, I agree. I think that as a millennial myself and Gen Z, I think that we got so burned out on like the quick dopamine hit and the lack of purpose that we're searching for something more. And I think that when you slow it down and your purpose every day is to tend to other living beings and to have your own space and your own land where you can provide the necessities for you and your family, I think that gives you a real good sense of purpose. I think that you can wake up every day knowing that there's tasks that need to get done for you and your family, and you can work together to figure them out.
It makes me think of our friend, a mutual friend of ours, just shared something on her story, and I saw it this morning, and it said something like how millennials are stuck in like nostalgia because they're trying to find something that doesn't exist anymore because it was a time period.
Right.
They were raised in the 90s where there was very limited social media.
Yeah.
You literally had to sit down at your computer in the computer room in your parents' house to like check in on anybody.
Yep.
And you had to like burn your favorite songs on CDs that you put in your little CD player.
Yeah. Go on AIM to chat with your friends.
Yeah.
And wait for the dial-up to stop. While your internet started.
Yeah, but it's weird because like millennials they got a taste of what it was like to have real human connection and our life not be solely dictated by convenience, and
like,
then got like fed into convenience culture and kind
yes,
of be like, oh, well, that sounds really cool because there's a fix to all my problems.
yeah,
And then quickly realize we get older and we're having kids, and then we're kind of seeing like, wait a second, like raising our children, like our young, innocent minds on this convenience culture is not healthy or beneficial for anybody. And
no.
everybody's trying to kind of bring it back in a little bit.
Yeah, you would go and like you could chat with your friends online for a little bit, but it wasn't like you could bring the computer in your pocket.
Exactly.
You could disconnect. You might have had like a Nokia with the game Snake on it or a flip phone, but everybody had to figure out where they were going to meet. And there was more social gatherings just because you couldn't just chat all day online.
Yep.
You had to be like, okay, we're going to go to the movies tonight, or we're going to go do this. So it was like a really cool time for that generation to where there was a good balance. Now that balance has completely gone one way.
Yep.
I feel like it's ruining not only our brains, but just the social aspect of life and what it means.
Society. Well, and so you know what? I think there's beauty in the homestead culture.
I do
Like,
too.
I don't want to crap on anybody who, you know, is attracted to the lifestyle, but doesn't realize that it's hard work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to crap on those people because we need this generation to have that desire. And it doesn't have to look like full-blown homesteading. There are many ways, and we'll touch on that at like the very end here. There are many ways that you can implement those types of things into your life without having a full-blown self-sustainable, off-grid farm.
Right.
But so let's talk like convenience culture and the specific things it can impact and how homesteading could potentially be like the cure to it.
Okay.
So how about schooling?
Yeah, I think that the traditional schooling system, and we've made this clear before, is completely flawed. I think that although there are good intended people that are within that school system, there's great teachers, the system itself is broken, and it's not only making our children less adequate when they graduate, it's putting them in a position where they have gone through 12 years and have no real life skills to show for it.
Yeah. I just saw something that said this study done by NASA, and it got swept under the rug, and I'm going to butcher it. So nobody come at me for specific details. Just we're storytelling here. Okay.
Yeah, don't fact check us.
Yeah. Don't fact check me. But NASA went to, I think it was like a school or something of young children in like kindergarten. And they had a specific testing that they did on them to see if they had the right criteria to be labeled genius. And 98% of these like kindergartners. Why does that sound so bizarre?
The way you're saying it sounds weird.
I know.
Anyways, kindergartners.
Yeah, those ones.
Okay.
Anyway, they tested positive for this like genius potential. So then they were like, this is amazing. Like, let's follow these kids. And once they become adults, like if they still have this genius factor, we're going to hire them.
Okay.
So then they go back in 6th grade and they do the same testing on them. And now only 23% of the kids, exact same children in a public school system, now 23% of them hold this like ability for genius. And then they come back when they are like 18 or something, and they do it again, and only 2%.
Damn.
And it went just to show that like we all are capable, and then you get put into the public school system, and it's this intentionally designed institute to brainwash our children, right? That they all are not allowed to have free critical thought anymore.
Right.
And then you lose the ability to actually be this quote genius. And at the end of this thing that I saw, it said the one thing that they were basing genius off of, it was creativity. So saying that like now like you have no creativity anymore.
Yeah. No, I think I saw that same thing.
Well, so how do we like cure that with homesteading?
I think just from seeing our own 6-year-old and her learning on the road and learning from homeschooling the prior year to us leaving, it doesn't look the same. Like it doesn't, and I think that's the hard part that a lot of people have if you've been in the traditional schooling system and you have this idea of what education is.
I still have a hard time with it. I mean, I'm totally guilty of it.
Yeah, you have to like, you kind of have to put all of your traditional ideas of what being educated looks like and take a brand new approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because our 6-year-old is not going to know all the multiplication tables and the numbers and all the stuff like that. It's where she's learning that stuff, but it's more organic. It's like picking up rocks and showing me how many she has.
Yeah.
Or learning about, what type of grass grows on the hillside in, Eastern Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
It's a much different approach. But yeah, we talked about the lemonade stand and, how that was a really great lesson for her and showing her how to kind of be her own business and what that looks like. And, there's just so many different ways to learn that keep your kids creative. It also keeps your kids in touch with nature
Mm-hmm.
and food sourcing and the things that actually matter. I mean, it doesn't even have to be homesteading. It could be getting a flat tire and changing the tire and teaching your kid how to do that on the side of the road, pumping gas. Like those are all things that you have to learn as an adult that actually are things you do on a regular basis.
And I mean, not to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, the school system almost intentionally ensures that your children do not acquire the skill set needed to function in everyday life, because if you did have the skill set, you could be self-reliant, and if you're self-reliant, you can't be a customer or a consumer to all these systems at play.
Right.
Like, why fix your own tire when you could just call AAA? But I think that there is beauty in homesteading because it suddenly becomes opportunity for learning in every single little thing that you do, and you're doing it as a family, and you're doing it in a way where you're all working together for the greater good of something.
Right.
Instead of just being a kid at a desk in a massive school system, just doing what you're told. It's this intertwined like spider web of, interconnectedness where every little chore and detail that you do on the homestead is all for the betterment of your family as a whole.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's a powerful thing. Like
it comes back to just purpose. Your purpose when you're going to school is to not get bad grades and fit into the box that they're telling you to, and basically learn how to take orders.
Yep.
That's your role in school. Your role on a homestead or on land with your family has much more purpose. You're going to have chores. Maybe you have to go clean out the chicken pen, or you have to feed the chickens, whatever it may be. There's something that you're contributing from a very young age, and there's things that you can give your children as far as chores, no matter what the age is, that they can go out and do and come back and feel like they've contributed to the family. Where you're going to school, your parents are going to work, everyone's stressed out. You don't know how to do your homework because they had you sitting in a classroom and you were staring at the wall, and now your parent has to help you with it. They're upset that you don't know what you're doing.
Yep.
And they're also stressed about their day at work, and they have so much going on, and nobody's happy and nobody feels like they've contributed.
Yeah. So instead of outsourcing education, you can literally bring it into everyday life.
Yes.
So what about food? I think a lot of people are maybe starting to realize, especially with like the Maha movement, things that are going on like politically in the world right now, people are realizing that like our food is poison.
Yeah.
And it's not there to nourish you. It may be there to feed you, but it's not there to nourish you.
Right.
And there's a big difference between feeding and nourishing.
Absolutely.
And it's a very important difference that demands our attention. And with homesteading, you don't even like, you could have a small garden and just be doing like, a couple things like some carrots and some peppers and tomatoes or whatever, and that's it. You don't have to be having a full blown functioning farm to have some element of understanding of what it takes to tend to your soil, to source your seeds or your plants, to plant them, to time them with the seasons and the weather, and to make sure that they're getting all the proper sunlight and water and nourishment that they need to grow in order to then cultivate just a handful of veggies.
Right.
And then you have to take them in the house and you have to chop them up and prepare them, with your oils and your seasonings and whatever, and then serve them as a meal for your family. And there's something about understanding that whole process that helps you value and understand the importance of real food.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even more like if you're sourcing your own meat, it gives you an appreciation for the food that's on the table. I mean, rather than going to get, 6 Big Macs from McDonald's where you don't even know if it's real meat or if it has human DNA in it.
Yeah. I was going to go there if you weren't.
Yeah. Like, rather than doing that, Dad shot a deer when he was hunting with his tag that he got for the season, and that's feeding the family for the entire season. And your son went with you and he got to see it, and he knows what kind of sacrifice and hard work goes into getting that meat. And so he's more appreciative of the things that are in front of him and what that means to take a life. I think it's important because we've gotten so wrapped up in the convenience of consuming and not knowing where it comes from and just, eating because we're hungry, that we've lost sight of what actually goes into the food that is being produced.
Yep, I completely agree. And so I think that there is an opportunity in homesteading to kind of, I don't know, take back some control and some self-reliance, and just like ultimately realizing that convenience culture may have promised us freedom, but really all it did was just create burnout and disconnection and poor health. And this call back to homesteading is kind of a reclaiming of our health and our sovereignty and the family.
Yeah.
So I think another turning point was definitely COVID. Not to sound like a broken record, but COVID was a crazy time because I think the government came in thinking that they could kind of fabricate this whole thing and create ultimate control. And it worked for some, but it greatly backfired for a lot.
Yeah.
Where people realized, like, wait a second, this is shady. I don't trust you. What else have you been doing that's shady and I shouldn't trust you on?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people kind of felt that desire to push back against these systems that we thought had our best interest at hand.
I think it was an eye-opening experience when, we're 2-3 years into the COVID experience and how flawed the response was, and then how weird and creepy the tactics that they used to get people to bend over for them. That gave us a huge eye-opening experience as to, yes, the government doesn't care about us. They don't have our best intentions at hand. And they're going to do and say whatever they can to keep the sheep in line. That was a driving factor as to why people were like, all right, now that this has been confirmed, what can I do to take control of my life, actually have some sort of freedom and self-reliance? And I mean, what does that look like on paper? It means owning your own land. It means having your own food production, having reserves of food, being off grid, having power production that is from you and not the city, having a well for water. Those are all things that you're going to need if you want to be, somewhat free from the government's thumb.
When we realize that we can't necessarily trust all these big systems, we don't trust them because we think they don't have our best interest in mind. But you also start to realize that the systems are also kind of fragile and they break down all the time.
Yeah.
That you can't always just have your trust in them.
Right.
That when you bring it home, what better thing than to trust your own family than to trust anything outside of yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that saying, nobody's coming to save you.
Yep.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
I saw statistics, and this is probably way off because I don't remember the actual numbers, but it was like if there was a power outage for like more than 2 weeks, like 80 to 90% of the population would die off.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if that's not motivation to be like, maybe I should take care of my own shit and have something as a backup plan.
Yeah. Not saying we're like doomsday preppers, but like.
But you know what's funny though, is if you do have land and you are homesteading, you kind of are a prepper.
You are. Yeah, I'm going to coin this one. But when people stop trusting the systems, they start growing gardens.
I like that.
Okay, so this is another like take that I think is kind of interesting, is this kind of instinctual desire to like return to land, because at the end of the day, like humans are not biologically wired for like that type of living. Like we're not meant to live in a box.
Really? You mean we're not meant to like sit in a desk under fluorescent
Fluorescence.
lighting and eat processed foods all day, every
Yeah.
day?
Well, and they say that like the air quality in your house is significantly worse than like any other air quality,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
I believe it.
Your house is just full of pollution. And we
Yeah.
just sit and like soak in it all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Just sitting in there sucking down the air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever chemical, all the off-gassing
Mhm.
couches are full of toxic chemicals, and it just off-gasses for like 20 years or something crazy.
I mean, there has to be a human, and I know this for myself, but there has to be an innate human instinct to want to be outside working in the dirt with your hands,
Mhm.
um, and be in the sunshine and put in like a real hard day's work.
Yep.
Like that's got to be in our DNA. That's what we've done for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah. But the modern lifestyle literally removes you from all of it.
It
Like it
does.
removes you from the sunlight. Like it's crazy. There were times where I would think about, have I been outside today? My car's in the garage. I would literally be inside the house all day and then get in my car in the garage
Mhm.
and then drive to wherever I'm going. And if it's like errands that I do where I don't necessarily get out of the car,
Yeah.
and then I come back home and then I park the car in the garage and then
At least
go
you
back
get
in
to
the house.
drive somewhere. I was sitting in my desk in an office waiting for people to come in, holding my phone, watching other people be outside homesteading. I was like, that looks sick.
Yeah.
And here I am sitting in the office. Like, man, maybe I should go outside and like be out there for just like a second
Yeah.
and take like a walk around the neighborhood I was
Yeah.
in.
See, and that's it. You're sitting there at your desk feeling like you're being a responsible person of the system. I'm getting my paycheck. I'm paying for the bills. I'm putting a roof over my family's head. I'm doing everything the modern man is supposed to do. But the second video about a horse giving birth and a woman making sourdough and kids like picking, like berries from the garden, it like makes your brain like light up,
Oh, yeah,
because we have that natural instinct to be a part of something like that.
Mhm.
We're supposed to be a part of the land.
Yeah.
But you can go days, weeks, months without ever even like putting your bare feet on the ground.
Yeah, it's nuts. And we talked about this morning. We are on the road full time right now, and we were talking about like just how crazy the idea that money is the driving factor for you to live a life that you want, and how it's complete bullshit, because we've stayed with multiple people now on their own land who are actively seeking the lifestyle that we're talking about today, that don't have all of the modern luxuries, don't have all the subscriptions, don't have all the convenience and bullshit, but
or square footage.
Yeah, but
like they're all living really small.
Right. They wake up happy every single day.
Yeah.
And they're doing something that actually brings them joy, which is typically being outside working on their land and trying to make improvements for them and their family.
Yep.
It's kind of baffling how we've been tricked and duped by the system and told that like consumption and that mindset of more and hustle is the best way of living.
Yeah, that it'll like equal happiness.
Yeah. And I think slowing down and simplifying your life and being able to spread out and working with your hands in the dirt on your own land might be the life hack that everyone needs.
Question. And I don't know if I'm completely wrong here, but for some reason I was just thinking about like, I read something when we were like prepping for this episode about like gardening and that it has like mental health benefits. And then it had me thinking, when addicts go to rehab, don't they usually have outdoor activity?
Yes.
So they do gardening.
Well, typically,
is that a thing? Like, is there ever like gardening and like rehabs?
Oh, I'm sure there are. Yeah. And I've never been to rehab. I probably should have gone, but I've never been. But knowing many people that have gone.
Yeah, I'm asking you because I thought you probably know more about this topic than me.
I've looked into it. They're really expensive. Like, and the really expensive ones are bougie, and there's like art that you can do, and
but even just like your average one.
But like most of them are on a beach somewhere.
Yeah.
Where you're outside, you're reconnecting with nature, you're breathing in fresh air, you're swimming in the ocean, you're doing these different activities to try to recalibrate your brain to what it's like to be normal.
Yeah. And it's the same thing for like retirement homes. A lot of retirement homes though, like always have like activities and
Yeah,
like
they do.
uh
Unfortunately, those activities are like, let's get on the bus and shovel these people into the casino.
okay, well, I guess that's your average one, but I'm just thinking like I have friends who own a retirement home in Vegas and we like took the kids there as one of our little
Yeah.
homeschool things and they had a garden in the backyard. They were on like 2 acres of land
They
and
sound like
had
they sound like good people.
yeah,
Most retirement homes are literally just trying to pinch every penny out of a
I
dying
know.
person
That's fair.
so that they can shovel them into a bus and put them in a Kmart or
Okay, I forget that I have crunchy friends and we do things different.
yeah.
But my point is just this, like we use all the things that we should all be doing in our average day life to try to fix other people who are struggling in order to like fix mental health for people,
Yeah.
in order to keep people healthy, in order to like give them a little more longevity. Those are the things that we know will benefit them.
Mhm.
But why are those only gate kept for like drug addicts and sick and dying people? Like what about those of us who are still alive,
Yeah.
you know, and are like prime years right now, but we're being robbed of it because
Right.
we're being convinced that life is supposed to look like more square footage and the nice car and the, you know, 6-figure job and
Well,
yada yada.
let's zoom out. I think that people have this idea based off of like a consumeristic mind that people who live in a small house on a ranch or a farm and have chickens and maybe are wearing like, overalls are not the brightest and are, lower class or don't have a lot of money and that's why they're living that way.
Who you calling hillbilly?
Now you look at what poverty in America looks like and nobody's starving. Most of people in poverty are obese and on food stamps, and the stuff that you can get with those food
Soda.
stamps is like soda. It's highly processed foods.
Uh-huh.
It's all these big
Sugar
food
cereals.
corporations that are just pumping all of the bullshit, the chemicals that you cannot pronounce.
They're just brand deals with like General Mills and
Right.
Coca-Cola and
Right. It looks a lot different than it used to. And if it were me and my family, I'd rather be the ones that were, playing in the mud outside their tiny house that actually had a little piece of land than the one who's being fed by the government inflammatory oils and
refined sugar
red
and
40. So, it's taken a turn as far as what poverty looks like in America.
I feel like it's easy to know that homesteading is the ultimate like break free revival movement because they make it so hard for you to do it.
Yeah, it's not easy to get off grid. It's not easy to buy suitable land. It's not easy to like build your own house. They have regulations on everything. Like you have to get permits for everything. You got to do all the different things. It's definitely possible. It's doable, and there's typically ways around a lot of things. But they make it so hard for you and your family to have your own production of food, to have your own water, to have your own power, all of that. The system's set up for you to be stuck to that and tied to it for life.
In some ways, I almost like the challenge. I think it's almost good that it is difficult to get out because just the process of getting out of your corporate 9-to-5 job, finding your plot of land, deciding what your house is going to look like, how you want to do it all, right? Like just those basics of kind of shifting from this lifestyle to this lifestyle is going to equip you and prepare you for the hard work that goes into homesteading. Because homesteading isn't, just Instagram and sourdough folds and flower gardens, It definitely takes
a certain type of person.
Anybody can do it, in my opinion. You just have to get your like mind right. Like
I think you just have to be so fed up with the system itself.
Yeah.
And want more for you and your family.
When we're on like road trips, we would always be like, could you imagine if we won $1 million, like what we would do with it? Since we've been on the road and especially having experiences like we are, like right now we're currently staying on a new to us friend, her land that she bought, and she's slowly creating, something with it. And just seeing the way that she lives. And then we just did a similar thing a couple nights ago with another couple who had land and is trying to build something with it. They're kind of in the creation phases of homesteading, but just seeing the way that they live is really making me realize that, like, it's not about the money.
You do need some finances.
Yeah, you need finances, but like, you really can't start with nothing. How many people before us started with nothing and created something from nothing? And it's kind of this mindset that I think is really common in our generation, where we're all just kind of like waiting until our parents can hand money down to us. And I don't disagree, because the boomers, it was very different. It was much easier to take a little bit of money and turn it into something. It is more difficult now, but there are things that we can control in that. And I think one of the biggest things you can do is reframe what you have to live like a good life. And this idea that you have to like have a house a certain way and have these certain things to fill the house, and a certain car and a certain like schedule and certain habits and whatever, that all require a lot of spending and money and flashy things. Like, if you can kind of reframe that and just really, really simplify down, which we naturally did by moving into the trailer, but now we get to see people who are doing it in like homes on land. It's like slowly rewiring something for me, where I'm like, it's not all so money focused, that as long as you have enough to meet your basic needs and you can be self-reliant and self-dependable and create security within your own unit, you can then slowly grow something from that, instead of thinking that it's, and I think this is where social media can be damaging, is you go online and you see the way all the homesteads look and you're like, okay, well then mine needs to look just like that, not realizing just how much freaking money and resources and time and work go into creating a homestead of that levity. Unless you are coming in with $1 million or inheritance from grandma who passed away, you kind of have to start at nothing and slowly build and cultivate it. It doesn't just happen overnight.
Right. You're not going to just show up and just be like, I'm going to buy this $2 million property that someone's invested their life's work into.
Yeah.
Right. And it can just be, a raw piece of land. Like the guy that we stayed at his place, this couple, when they bought the land, I was just talking to him. I was like, man, this is beautiful. You guys have done a lot of work here. And asking about where they started and all that. And he said that he had to clear the entire land. There was thick trees and brush throughout the whole thing. He put in so much work. He hired a couple guys to like help him out that were local, but he kind of was the one that was doing it and just having a helping hand occasionally. He figured it out himself, but he was sleeping out of a very small structure that he built. It was a trailer, like a utility trailer that he built into like a little mobile home. And that's what he was using until finally he got enough area cleared in the land level to where he could build like a small A-frame home, which they still live in right now. But he's got other structures. He had like a sauna that he built himself on there. He had footings for a brand new home that they were going to build eventually.
Built a whole house for his parents to live off the land.
And it's almost done. Like, this is a long pursuit to get to the place that he's at. All of those things were an accumulation of work over multiple years.
Didn't you say too that he shared with you that, because he hosts like on hip camps, so like a lot of nomads and travelers will come and stay on his land, and you said that they're always asking him like, how did you do this and how did you do that? Like, they want like some instant quick fix or solution to do exactly what he's doing.
Right. Told him kind of how we sold everything and just got fed up and we're just going for it. And he laughed and he said he's done that about 2 times so far. And this last time he landed on this land and developed it himself. But he said that the questions that he gets from people that are camping and hooking up on his land are typically like, how do you do this? How can I do this? And he said the response that he gives them is, you have to have, the courage to walk away from the conveniences that you have currently. He said, do you like eating out? And that's usually when he's like, then you got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Like, it won't work. If you love eating out and the conveniences of your subscription lifestyle and all that, he's like, because if you really want something like this, you have to make huge sacrifice. He's the type of guy, he didn't have a ton of money going into it. He's worked and owned companies and odd jobs and stuff like that and had the money to buy the land, but did most of the work himself.
I think what we're saying is, if you are like us and you're desiring to homestead at some point, because that is our ultimate goal, there are so many different ways you can do it. Don't get caught up in this idea. It's like what we've said with homeschooling. Like, people bring their kids home and homeschool, but they think it's supposed to look like the public school system. Like,
Right.
don't go to homesteading and think that it's supposed to be like the same thing where you have the most expensive equipment and the most like Pinteresty decor in your house and the biggest garden and the nicest, animals or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to look that way to get the same amount of like happiness and fulfillment out of it.
Right.
So stay within your means, but also there are so many things that you can do to become self-reliant and gain back that power to yourself and to your family. And it can just start with like cooking food. Like,
Yeah.
stop, like this guy's saying, don't eat out. Yeah,
Right.
because of spending all the extra money on it, but also like, what an amazing thing to learn how to cook meals and feed your family yourself and not depend on anything else.
The main takeaway is homesteading doesn't have to be a giant extravagant farm. I think the first thing that you can do is take some big steps in your current life. Start to get rid of some of those things that you think that you need that are weighing you down. If you're going to try to do this, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. And if you can't make those sacrifices in your everyday normal life to save a little bit extra money, potentially buy that land, it's probably not for you.
Yeah, and you have to kind of break some of those chains or relationships you have with the systems that you're outsourcing to.
Right.
Like, you got to start bringing some of those things home and you having a full-blown homestead, but it will bring you a lot more happiness, fulfillment, freedom, sovereignty within your family.
Yes. And it usually starts with sourdough.
Yeah, it's true, actually.
Making it at your house.
Yep.
And then you start to go, wait a minute. Has everything they told me been a lie?
Yep.
And next thing you know, you've sold everything you own and you're trying to buy land and living out of an RV.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoopsies.
So we get it. We understand the trend. We understand the draw to a more natural, hands-on, slower way of living. And if that resonates with you too, you are in the right place.
That's right. And I hope you guys will follow us along the way. We'd love to have you be part of the pack, the Loners Club, as we continue to unlearn, detach, make sense of what's truly important to us. And we're going to continue to show up and question things and have the conversations that nobody wants us to have.
Yes. So we will see you for the next one.
See you in the next one. If you feel at home here, leaving a 5-star review helps other families find their way too.
Come hang out with us on socials at Lone Wolfe Podcast, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's next.
Remember, sometimes you have to stray from the pack to discover where you truly belong. Until next time, loners.